The team that I thought was going to be dominating the weekend is not at the top.
You earned yourself a cupcake!
Are you just the cutest, sleepiest little boy? Is that you? Yes, it is.
Good morning. I am headed to take my dog to boarding so that I can head to Pasadena and go to CrossFit Semifinals. So this is day one of Semifinals after I get there. And it's just teams. So us at Diablo CrossFit have a team competing. They're probably going to be in Heat 1. And because I'm driving from San Francisco Bay Area down to Pasadena, probably won't get there in time for them, but we'll be there hopefully for the end heats of the first event, and I'll see them in the second event. So it's gonna be a fun day. Can't believe we're here and we're at the CrossFit North American West Semifinals, but it's time and I'm excited to get started. Made it after 6 hours of driving. I am here in time for the last or top heat of the teams. So we'll get to see some of that of the first event and maybe the second event. Speed it up, 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 speed it up. Go faster, ay, go faster, ay, go faster, ay. Wake up, go down. I'm pray to God like a nun. I'm put that on my son. On go like 3, 2, 1. Don't smoke, I need my lungs. I stack the Just finished event 1, which looks like a particularly brutal one. After each heat, there were athletes just like laid out on the floor. And I met a subscriber named Todd from San Jose. So if you're watching, thanks for saying hi. And if you see me here, come say hi. I love talking to all of you. And it's gonna be a good weekend.
10 toes down, I'm around with the gang. My whole life I've been doing my thing. Ain't that money, ain't no thing. Anything I do for the gang. 10 toes down, I'm around with the gang. My whole life I've been doing my thing. Ain't that money, ain't no thing. Anything I do for the gang. Anything I do for the gang. Took those L's and I took that blame. All money in, we ain't popping no chain. Feel like Ice Cube 'cause it did good day. Don't need 3 whips, don't need no race. I'ma keep it simple in the Chevy I
Day 1 of the North America West Semifinals is done, and actually a pretty easy day. So for me, I had to drive all the way from San Francisco today and drop off my dog before, so it took me like 6.5 hours to get here. So kind of a long day for me. But it was a quick competition day because all we had was the teams going, and I actually didn't get here quite in time to see the first heat of the teams in event 1, and that's the heat that my gym went in, but they were featured a ton on the broadcast, which was pretty cool.
I was able to catch up with Craig Howard, who is the owner of Diablo CrossFit, and they have really had a 4-year drought of having no teams at the regional or semi or sanctional level, so this is an amazing for them. Since 2010, they have had 6 teams at the games and 12 teams at regionals. So truly an OG affiliate in this space, a leader in the community.
And they featured some of the athletes as well. They got them mixed up.
That's Christian Boyd holding the bag. Behind him on the runner is Jackson Miller.
But, you know, other than that, it was pretty cool to see them on there and see them getting some recognition for all their hard work, because no matter what heat you're in here at semifinals, you're pretty dang fit if you are at semifinals. So if we take a look at the leaderboard, the team that I thought was going to be dominating the weekend is not at the top. And the team that is at the top is CrossFit Franco's Misfits, which is also a team I had on the podium. A lot of people have on the podium and expect them to do well. But I didn't expect them to do this well, because these athletes have not been a team in the same way as CrossFit Invictus has been. Like, CrossFit Invictus is the same Invictus team that stood on the podium at the CrossFit Games last year. It is the same 4 people running it back. So I thought with their experience working out together, spending the last year working out together, and having been on a team so recently together and competing at the CrossFit Games to a podium, I felt they were going to be ahead most of the weekend. And they're not far behind. So CrossFit Franco's Misfits has 197 points with a first and a second. And CrossFit Invictus has a first and a third and 194 points. So right now, just 3 points separate them. That is very, very small margin. And whoever is ahead of the other team in the next event will likely be in first after 3 events. So we could see the lead go back and forth here, the North America West teams, which would be really exciting. Although I do believe CrossFit East Nashville Proven wasn't in first place after day 1 either. So maybe the team that's in first place after these first 2 events is not necessarily the team that tends to win, because we didn't see that in the East. And I just feel that this Invictus team has more experience together and that that'll help them long term. But would I be surprised to see CrossFit Franco's Misfits at the top of the podium at the end of the weekend? No, not after seeing them today. They worked really well together. They looked great on some of the events, especially that last one, which they won. They got first place on event 2 and really, really went all out. I mean, after the event was over, one of their men was like face down on the floor. I believe his name is Logan Collins, just like face down. And just suffering. So that was funny to see. And it was also funny to see that the 2 women were standing, talking. They ended up doing the post interview, but one of their male athletes just like on the floor, unable to get up, which just shows you how much they pushed on that AMRAP. Funny, that AMRAP's an interesting event because I feel like it's a little bit difficult to know who is ahead. Yes, the barbells move down the floor, but depending on where you are and where you're sitting, and if there are multiple barbells in the same row, can be a little bit hard to tell where people are and who's in first without the announcer's help. I definitely noticed that more in person because you don't have the play-by-play. You do have the floor announcers and they do a great job, but without the cameras isolating people, it is a little bit hard on that event to tell who is ahead. And it's funny, someone who was in the crowd but near the media pit was talking and she's like, I don't think anyone's gonna finish. And I was like, it's an AMRAP. No one's gonna finish. It's for max reps. So even the concept of an AMRAP, I think, can be a little bit confusing in a setting like this where you're watching people compete because you're looking to see who crosses the finish line, and there is no crossing the finish line. But we do have an AMRAP in the individuals as well. But I think with those boxes, it may be a little bit easier to tell. And because ideally most people will be finishing on the box over burpees in the individual test, so you know where to look. When it came to this test, the team that won finished on the muscle ups, so you're not looking at where the bars are down the floor, you're looking where everybody starts. So it was a little bit confusing, but just something that if you're seeing one of these events in person, maybe to keep in mind. We only have one more weekend of that, so maybe it doesn't matter. And in third, we have CrossFit Omnia. I think a lot of people predicted their podiums to be the teams that are in first, second, and third right now. So it's looking, I guess, a little bit predictable, but like I said, the team everyone thought was in first is not in first right now. And then rounding up the rest of the teams that are in a qualifying position right now. We have CrossFit Kilo 2, CrossFit Invictus Unconquerable, Coda CrossFit Redemption, Verdant CrossFit, CrossFit 8035, CrossFit Complex, and Rhino CrossFit Dogs, which is the underdogs team. Okay, that's really it for day one, but we have a lot less going on in day one than we'll have in the next couple of days with the teams and the individuals competing. I also want to talk a little bit about the crowd. I was surprised to see so many people here for day one of the competition, just because it's only teams. Not that teams aren't important, but when you have teams and individuals, that's gonna be a bigger crowd. And it's a Thursday during the day. So I was thinking that we would have a smaller crowd than we did, but it was actually pretty busy. So I am excited to see what the crowd looks like Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, you know, days that people are more likely to have off, and the individuals will be competing. So I think it's gonna be a lot of fun. I think there's gonna be a lot of storylines that unfold. Maybe CrossFit Franco's Misfits taking the top of the podium. Who knows? That's a possibility for sure right now. So lots of things coming up. Subscribe if you're interested in seeing more. Like this video if you had a good time. And I appreciate you all for watching, and I'll see you in the next one tomorrow.